in your years of experience in doing recruiting and interviewing and helping your clients, pick the right candidates, what are the major watch-outs? When you've got a client and you're bringing in multiple candidates, what are you telling your client to watch out for in the interview process? What if I'm a CEO hiring some new talent? What are the 2 or 3 keys or things that I should be watching out for to make sure that I make a good decision?
Well, the first question as a recruiter, when I call a candidate, the first question that I ask a candidate is, number one, would they be willing to consider an opportunity outside their current employer? And most candidates say yes to that. Some candidates are happy where they're at, and that's great. And we like to understand why that is, because there are so few companies where the candidates are truly happy in their role. But after that, we ask the candidate, what is the ideal situation that you're looking for? What would you be looking to improve upon if you were going to make a move? And my role as a recruiter is to understand what my client is looking for first. They've retained my services, and they are the one that I am representing. To understand what they're looking for in a candidate, and then to match that ideally with what a candidate is looking for in their career. And so the watch-outs for me are trying to, for lack of a better term, put a round peg in a square hole. Finding a candidate that is whose personal goals and business goals do not align well with what the company is looking for out of that position. And in terms of watch-outs, I would absolutely say if somebody is in a perfect scenario, people are moving up with every position in terms of either title and or responsibility. So if a person is moving back, going from a VP, say, to a national sales manager or to a director, that to me is problematic. Those are situations that don't make sense on paper. They typically don't make sense in terms of the person's career. And the problem I have with that is that if someone makes a move like that and a recruiter follows up with them in some period of time with an opportunity to get back to the level they were at previously, say a VP, there's going to be a great interest in that candidate. More than likely, that candidate's going to be open to having that conversation because of having stepped back. Another thing to watch out for, and this is fairly obvious, but short tenures. Anyone who's hired sees this. There is always any good candidate's going to have some explanations that they can share with an employer as to why a situation played out the way it did. And I'm not suggesting that in someone's career, if they have jobs that average 5 years per job and their last job is 2 years and the job was eliminated because the company was sold, that's not a very valid reason for the short tenure. But there are situations where there'll be people, and I've seen this very often, where they come out of large cap, they want to go into a micro cap, or let's just say, use the natural products industry as an example, and their tenures are very short-lived within the natural products industry. And it shows me that sometimes it means to me that they were good in an environment where it was an established company, they were growing an established brand, they had lots of resources, they had lots of manpower, but when they had to go into a microcap environment with limited resources and limited both financial and human capital, they've struggled. And another item that is an absolute watch out is if a candidate cannot give you, I don't expect a candidate to give me the name of their current CEO to do a reference check on because of the confidentiality involved. But if the candidate can't give you the individual that they reported to at least the last 3 companies, that is absolutely a red flag. And in fact, we ask that question early on in the interview process because we don't want to get to the end of the interview only to find out if that the candidate can't give us some of the key references that would be obvious to speak to understand the work that they did in their career. I can probably go on, but those
No,
are the
that's
first.
excellent. There's some really good nuggets in there. I think that most CEOs that I've met aren't going deep in references. I'm a fanatic about references, but the point you made about getting that candidate's previous bosses, or the people that they've reported to, is just a fantastic key for CEOs. I think that keying in on the whole company, a big company mentality as well. I've seen that happen quite a lot, where a person thinks they want to leave a big company to come to a smaller company. They don't really understand the amount of hats and level of rolling your sleeves up that's involved in going to a smaller company. So I completely agree with that as well. So those are some great tidbits.
And going back to what you said on references, the truth is, if you're the exception to the rule in terms of the time that you've just indicated you'll take in the reference process. Most candidates are going to offer up, and most clients are going to accept, most candidates will offer up 3 references. And the fact is, the average person is going to be able to give you 3 quality references. Now, again, if they're not the direct reporting manager for the last 3 opportunities, there's a problem there, at least in my mind. And to your point, unless you go down 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 references, it can oftentimes be difficult to find the truth that you're seeking to uncover. And it's just human nature. People typically want to say good things about the individuals that they're giving references for. That being said, on a reference call, I'm looking for those areas of improvement. If someone tells me that an individual does not have areas of improvement, they are being disingenuous, and I'm disappointed, and I don't put a lot of weight on that reference for that reason.
Right.
I need people I understand that people don't. There's very few candidates I've ever met that walk on water. Everyone is in a continuum in terms of their career, in terms of their career growth. We want people that are, and this goes back to your other question or comment, Robert, in terms of the watch-outs. We want people that are moving up in their career, not people that have plateaued and are going sideways.